Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host for the evening, Professor Jim Al-Khalili.
Well, good evening, everyone. Your Royal Highness, Lords, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Illuminate Gallery at the heart of London's Science Museum. My name's Professor Jim Al-Khalili, and I'm delighted to welcome you all here tonight to celebrate the incredible world of engineering and, of course, to announce the winner of the 2025 Queen Elizabeth Prize for Engineering. The QE Prize exists to celebrate the engineering innovations that have genuinely changed our world and have benefited billions, literally billions of people across the globe. As well as my work as a university professor and broadcaster, it was my pleasure to serve as a QE Prize judge between 2017 and 2023. The quality of the nominations that the panel considers for this prize is outstanding. And you're going to hear from this year's judges about some of the qualities that they look for during their deliberations. Now, to begin the evening, it's my great pleasure to introduce the CEO of the Queen Elizabeth Prize for Engineering Foundations, Dr. Hayatun Silem.
Your Royal Highness, distinguished guests, on behalf of the Queen Elizabeth Prize for Engineering Foundation, I'm delighted to welcome you all for this evening's announcement of the 2025 Queen Elizabeth Prize for Engineering. Since we first awarded the prize in 2013, we have recognised 26 outstanding laureates, engineers at the very peak of the profession, whose work has improved the lives of billions of people right around the world. There can be few better illustrations of the power of engineering to create new opportunity and to act in the service of society. And that matters because at the heart of this prize is a commitment that we will harness the wonder and the awe created by our laureates and their innovations to light a spark in a new generation. We see that spark in the thousands of entries we receive for our Create the Trophy competition, which enables young people to unleash their creativity and design a trophy inspired by the ingenuity of our laureates. And we will be hearing from our Create the Trophy judges and unveiling our 2025 winning design very shortly. We see that spark in the commitment of our QE Prize ambassadors, our network of earlier career engineers, tomorrow's leaders of the profession, and who knows, perhaps future winners of this prize. And we see that spark in the work that our ambassadors do to engage young people and open their eyes and their minds to the possibility of a career in engineering, including by featuring alongside our laureates in the wonderful Engineers Gallery in this museum, which I hope you will have the chance to visit later this evening. And as that gallery shows, our ambassadors are also part of the infinite cycle of innovation, with each new generation of engineers forging further progress, fueled by the revolutionary advances made by our laureates. Tonight, we celebrate engineers whose vision and tenacity have already changed our world and which will shape our future. To join us in this celebration, it's my honour and pleasure to welcome to the stage Her Royal Highness, the Princess Royal.
Lords, ladies and gentlemen, well, it was a pleasure for me to join you this evening and also to add my welcome to this very special evening for the Royal Academy of Engineering. And extraordinarily, I've been honoured to be present actually throughout the lifetime of the prize, of the announcements and even a presentation ceremony at Buckingham Palace. And you even trusted me to welcome guests of our video message during lockdown in 2021-22. Possibly unwise, but it did work. Now, the ambition and scale of all laureates' work really does mark out the Queen Elizabeth Prize for Engineering. as the world's most prestigious engineering award, and it highlights that link between engineering and innovation. And there have been a few changes since 2013, but engineering continues to lead the way in providing solutions to some of the most pressing global challenges. Most recently, the contributions of the 2023 and 2024 Laureates work in the areas of solar and wind energy are doing so much to enable a rather more sustainable form of living. Other laureates exemplify the breadth of engineering disciplines and their innovations. The internet, the World Wide Web, controlled drug release mechanisms, digital imaging sensors, LED lighting, and permanent magnets have all touched billions of lives throughout the world. So many congratulations to all those who have been nominated for this evening, but most especially to the 7 winners of the prestigious Queen Elizabeth Prize for Engineering. And it has been my pleasure to have met 3 of this year's winners here this evening in person. We're delighted they've been able to join us. They represent the extensive skills, including computer science and artificial intelligence. But as they also reminded me, they represent an awful lot of other engineers that back them up in this prize. I hope the work of former laureates and this year's winners serve as an inspiration to young people around the world. If these young people are searching for a challenging, rewarding career in which you can make a real difference in people's lives, then I very much hope they're paying strict attention to the winners this year and to follow their engineering ambitions, that they too might be part of these celebrations. So to those who had the not entirely easy task of making a decision, but for all those who put in the work that backs up this prize, the Queen Elizabeth Prize for Engineering. Thank you all.
Your Highness, thank you very much. Well, as well as celebrating the very best in global engineering, the QE Prize exists to inspire young people to consider a career in engineering. Now, each year, promising young engineers are given the opportunity to design the trophy that His Majesty the King will present to our laureates later this year. To learn who's won the 2025 Create the Trophy competition, let's hear from our judges.
There's 3 things we're looking for when we are deciding who the winner of the competition is. One is about the aesthetic, how beautiful it looks. One is about the engineering inspiration behind it. And finally, does it look like a trophy that, the king is going to hand over to the winners?
This year was so much fun. It was actually quite challenging to pick the winner. I think we're seeing the quality improve a lot more, so the discussion around the designs was a lot more nuanced, and that was really enjoyable.
Almost every year we follow the same pattern, which is we get quite rapidly from 10 designs down to 4, but then the debate gets very, very heated, because here's the key point. At that stage, every single one of the shortlisted entrants is so good that they could all win.
So the finalists of this year's competition were really strong when it comes to the narrative, the stories behind their inspiration for the trophies.
What impressed me the most about this year's winning design was that it was sophisticated, it was complete, and it was so considered from every angle.
It's really important that this competition is global because, after all, engineering is global. It exists in all corners of the planet, and so we want to see that creativity and design coming from everywhere.
Before I reveal this year's winner, we have one highly commended design, Ramya Raghu Krishnamurthy from the UK. it gives me great pleasure to announce that the winner of the 2025 Create the Trophy competition is Prayak Ganeshmal Bothra from India. Congratulations to all our finalists.
Well, thank you, Ian. Congratulations, of course, again to all this year's Create the Trophy entrants. So the moment is now upon us. It's time to find out who has won this year's Queen Elizabeth Prize for Engineering. As we welcome to the stage the chair of the Queen Elizabeth Prize for Engineering Foundation, Lord Valence, let's hear first from our judges describing what excites them about this year's winning innovation.
What really impressed the judges about this year's Innovative Prize is the way 3 different fields came together to produce this transformative invention.
I very much doubt that those who use this innovation realize the technology and the engineering behind delivering that innovation. And that's what makes it such an exciting winner.
It's a piece of technology that we use every day, both at work and at play, and I think has really captured the excitement and interest of the next generation of engineers.
It's cross-sectional. It's in everything. It's in medicine. It's in industry. It's in agriculture. It's in entertainment.
In reality, it will also help us accelerate the solution formulation for many of the issues that we face up to globally.
This year's winner of the Queen Elizabeth Prize for Engineering is at the core of one of the most astonishing and dramatic advances in technology over recent years.
Welcome to Your Royal Highness, my lords, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the chair of the Queen Elizabeth Prize for Engineering Foundation, and it's a really great privilege and honour to be here. The prize exists to do 3 things: to celebrate the very best of international engineering, and we're certainly going to see that; to highlight the engineers whose innovations make those invaluable contributions to finding solutions for global challenges; and importantly, and I think this is one of the reasons that prizes exist, to inspire young people to look at engineering as a career which can be both challenging and immensely rewarding. I often reference the Engineers Gallery here at the heart of the Science Museum, and we're hugely grateful to our corporate and individual donors who have made the gallery and indeed the continuing work of this prize possible. Since opening in the summer of 2023, the gallery has welcomed almost 1.5 million visitors, many of them, of course, young, opening the eyes of so many people to the wonder of engineering and the excitement that an engineering career can bring. And I can say, I'm not an engineer, I was a scientist, and I've come to greatly admire what engineers do, to bring ideas, to bring things together, to make something happen, a practical output. And as I look at the work of our 2025 laureates, the 2 words of wonder and excitement couldn't be more appropriate. We wonder at the vision and tenacity all our new laureates have shown throughout their careers in pushing the boundaries of what is possible. And like so many new things, for quite a long time, there weren't that many people that excited about it. So we've got to admire their resilience and perseverance. And the excitement of knowing that in many ways, we're only at the start of this particular journey. The possibilities offered by this technology are genuinely transformative. Your Royal Highness, distinguished guests, I want to now announce the winners for their seminal contributions to the development of modern machine learning. The 2025 Queen Elizabeth Prize for Engineering is awarded to Bill Daly, Fei-Fei Li, Geoffrey Hinton, Jensen Huang, John Hopfield, Jan LeCun, and Joshua Bengio, an amazing achievement which brought together people who did the foundational work in thinking about neural networks and the algorithms needed, the hardware necessary to turn that foundational work into something that could be scaled and could be applied. And the insight to realize that none of that is possible without well-curated, high-quality data sets on which the machine can learn. So massive congratulations to our laureates for an achievement which we all know we're going to be living with and benefiting for a very long time to come. Congratulations.
Well, congratulations to our 2025 laureates. I'd now like to welcome onto the stage three of our laureates, Joshua Bengio, Jan LeCun, and Bill Daly. And thank you. I'd also like to welcome onto the stage the chair of the QE Prize judging panel, Dame Lynn Gladden. I'd like to spend a few minutes just asking you all a few questions, and particularly the laureates. Maybe I can begin with you, Joshua. Today's award is recognition of many years of high-quality engineering. Can you explain what inspired you to focus on the possibilities of machine learning at the very beginning of your career?
That's a great question. When I was a grad student, the idea that was dominating AI was that we could take everything we know, formalize it in rules, and eventually we'd have machines that can reason with those rules. The problem is that we can't formalize everything. No. And the alternative to building this huge mass of pieces of knowledge by hand was that it could be learned, that we, and that means we could take inspiration from human cognition and human brains. And I was very much inspired by the idea that there would be principles of how the brain learns and becomes intelligent that could drive engineering of artificial intelligence.
Thank you. Well, that very nicely leads on to a question for you, Jan. Machine learning is a phrase that a lot of people know now. It's sort of in the zeitgeist, in the public domain. But how does that sort of learning process differ from what we know about human learning?
Well, it's different for sure, but there is an attempt to emulate it. And the idea goes back a very long time, the 1950s, when people realized perhaps machines could be trained instead of programmed. And the field had a period of glory for about 10 years and then died in the late 60s and then reappeared again in the 1980s, thanks to people like John Hopfield and Jeff Hinton. I came to the scene just a couple of years later, and Joshua a couple of years after that. And really, it's the brain self-organizes, right? The brain is, intelligence emerges from the network of neurons in the brain, and each neuron individually is very simple. So how is it that a network of very simple elements can produce an emerging phenomenon like intelligence and consciousness and things of that type? It's a very mysterious thing. And the reason why I got fascinated by this is because I thought I was fascinated by the question of intelligence and maybe building intelligent machines as an engineer. But probably I didn't think I was smart enough to design an intelligent machine, and most of the ones that we observe in nature build themselves. Mm-hmm. Why can't we do this with computers? So the idea is to basically build a neural net, simulate it on a computer, and have it learn by modifying the connections between the simulated neurons that form that neural net.
Thank you.
And maybe connecting to what I was saying earlier, the important thing that motivated both of us is that, on one hand, we have the option of taking the huge amount of knowledge we have, and it's like encyclopedic. And on the other hand, designing these learning mechanisms, there's actually a few equations. It's very simple. It's like something that makes us think about how physics explores how the world works and can be expressed in such a compact way. And the idea that something as simple could give rise to intelligence, that was so exciting and enthusiastic.
Thank you. Bill Daly, we heard from the judges about the key role that each of the three components played: algorithms, hardware, and data. They all have their role to play in machine learning. When did you realize how key super-fast computer chips were going to be?
Well, let me give you two dates, 1984 and 2010. So in 1984, I was a graduate student at Caltech, and I took a neural networks course from one of my fellow laureates, John Hopfield. And in that course, I was building neural networks, and it was fascinating technology. I was hooked. But I realized that we were orders of magnitude off in the compute capability needed to make them practical. So that was when I realized the compute power was going to be really important. And over the next 30-some years, I worked on providing more and more compute power. And then in 2010, I had a breakfast with my Stanford colleague, Andrew Ng, who was telling me about his building of neural networks to find cats on the internet, which is a dubious utility. But in any case, it made me realize that with a few GPUs, I could reproduce his result. And I kicked off the first neural networks projects at NVIDIA using GPUs to build these vision nets. And that's when I realized we were at that threshold where we now had enough computing power to make this technology useful. And at that point, things just exploded.
Come a long way in 14, 15 years. Yeah. I want to come to the chair of judges, Dame Lynn. What would you say made this year's innovation stand out for the judges? I know from my experience on the judging panel how difficult it is when you get so many fantastic nominations. It's an incredible selection, and I'm sure this year was no different.
It was an incredible selection, and I can see some of my fellow judges in the front row there. And as we all know, the Queen Elizabeth Prize is here to celebrate engineering and engineering achievements that have transformed the world for good. And once you look at what these guys have achieved with modern machine learning, and they are transforming the world for good. And it's transforming every aspect of our lives and has so much further to go as well. And we've talked about the different elements that the prize celebrates, but it is an important part of what the judging panel do is to look at what we call the storyline for awarding a prize, because this is, if you had the algorithms, if you had any one of these elements alone, we wouldn't have machine learning around the world. It's as simple as that. You needed the algorithms, you needed the compute, and then you needed to train the algorithms on trusted data sets. And it is that storyline that is the engineering achievement.
Thank you. Well, following on from Lynn's comments there, as you say, engineering has the power to deliver solutions, all sorts of engineering to the world's challenges. Could I ask each of you, very briefly in turn, to say where you feel machine learning has the most opportunity for delivering positive, transformative change? Maybe you first, Bill.
Well, as a former educator, I'm very excited about the prospect of us building personal tutors for every student that understand how the student learns. Everybody learns differently. They understand what motivates the student, what things they're interested in, and can really help the student learn in whatever direction is appropriate for them as much as they can to realize their full potential. I think that's, to me, one of the best possible applications of AI.
Thank you. Joshua?
Well, in the last decade, a lot of my time has been spent on thinking how we can use machine learning to advance science and engineering itself, right? So as a research tool to help design experiments, for example. Recently, my group has been involved in the design of experiments to search for new materials, for new drugs. I think this is just the tip of the iceberg, that AI is going to become a game changer for all research in many ways, well beyond what I've been exploring.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, there are applications that are with us today that people may not realize use deep learning and some of the techniques that we've been working on for several decades. Every car sold in the EU, and I believe in the UK, comes with something called automatic emergency braking system. It's a camera that looks out the windshield and stops your car automatically if there's an obstacle in front that you're going to hit. It can also keep your car in lane and perhaps actually drive it more or less autonomously. Actually, Bill has a whole team working on this. And this reduces frontal collision by 40%. It saves lives. The second big use today is analyzing medical images, detecting tumors in mammograms, for example. It's pretty standard now that those things are screened with AI techniques, and this is going to expand in medical imaging. Then there is a big use, which is a little behind the scenes, to organize the information that you see. Your email system, the spam gets filtered by AI systems. The ranking of social networks or YouTube or whatever also gets performed by AI systems that understand the content and understand your interests. There's a lot of AI used for content moderation, for translation, and things like this. So this is today. And then in the near future, some of you may have noticed I'm wearing smart glasses right now. I can take a picture of you if you smile. I can ask that system to actually take a picture. I can talk to it. There is an AI assistant that is connected to. I can ask it any question. Pretty soon, all of us will have smart devices of this type, and every single one of our interactions with the digital world will be mediated by AI assistants. We're talking in the next few years. It's not really...
It's incredible, isn't it? I mean,
yes, it is, and it's going to transform. It's going to make us all smarter. It's as if all of us would be walking around with a staff of smart virtual people working for us. Okay, we'll be their boss, right? They work for us. They're not going to take over or anything.
Well, we don't know that.
No, it's an exciting future.
We absolutely know that. And so that future is really interesting. This may have a similar effect of disseminating knowledge and giving access to knowledge as the invention of the printing press in the 15th century, perhaps.
That was a short answer. Maybe you can give the long answer in the reception. Yeah, thank you so much.
Very short.
I have to bring it to a close. Lynn, thank you to you and to all the judges on the judging panel for all your efforts. Bill, Jan, Joshua, thank you for your contribution to the advancement of modern machine learning. Heartfelt congratulations on becoming the 2025 Queen Elizabeth Prize for Engineering Laureates. Your Royal Highness, my lords, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations once again to all our 2025 laureates. I have to say, on a personal note, as a mere humble physicist, I feel utterly inspired, rather nervous amongst engineers. They do useful things. Physicists just sort of think deep thoughts and don't do anything useful for the world. This year's winners in particular, I think, have been inspiring. Machine learning and AI clearly are going to transform the world. Some people are rather nervous about what that might mean, but it's really going to be absolutely revolutionary. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. This does end the formal proceedings for the element of the evening. Before you leave, can I ask you just to remain seated just for a few seconds while the royal party departs? Thereafter, you can all join us downstairs at the Engineers Gallery for refreshments, where you can also meet and talk to the laureates. Thank you all very much indeed.
This is such a special evening for engineering because we get to celebrate people who have profoundly changed our world through their innovations and to show the role that engineering plays in delivering benefits that we can all see and feel in our lives, but don't necessarily understand how they came about.
I'm honored and delighted to be one of the winners of the Queen Elizabeth Prize for Engineering 2025. These advances that we're seeing now and we are impressed is just the tip of the iceberg.
You can think of knowledge and progress as being a high-dimensional sphere, and we are at the boundary of it, and we're pushing the boundary. As the sphere of knowledge expands, the boundary expands. There's more things to discover, so we're going to need more engineers.
It's really interesting to see someone at the kind of done something so big within their career that it affects our daily life. Also, us recognising someone between the ages of 14 to 24 who's designed this amazing trophy, and I think it's so inspiring wherever you are within that career of engineering.
It's important that we continually showcase to the society the many ways that engineering is impacting life and is impacting society. So tonight, again, it's also a true demonstration and a true showcase of the marvel of engineering.
One of the things we wish to do with this prize is to inspire the next generation of engineers. And this is a great way to do it, a great way for them to see what it means, and also to understand the long years of struggle that go before something actually turns into reality.